Hey everybody, it's Jonathan Lau, the founder of O3 Vets, and welcome to the ultimate 5-minute guide to ozone therapy for animals. In the next couple of days, we're going to walk through what ozone therapy is, how it can benefit you and your patients, and how to get started. So this is the first of 3 videos, and if you'll give me just about 5 minutes each day, we will get you on your way to understanding ozone therapy and how it can drastically help to improve the health of your patients or your pets. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to discover in this first video. We're going to start with what the big problem is. What is it that ozone therapy is addressing? We'll move into what ozone therapy is. And discover more about ozone itself. We'll break down the different components, the different parts of a definition I have of ozone therapy and really look at that more closely. And then we're going to take a look at some of the scientific underpinnings or some of the studies and resources available. So why don't we get started with that? I'm going to introduce you to a friend, a very respected, well-known veterinarian who's been practicing veterinary medicine for over 40 years. Listen in to what she has to say.
Ozone therapy, as I have said many times in my life, is probably the best thing that I have added to my care regimens in my whole career.
That is an amazing statement. How can Dr. Shoemaker say that about ozone therapy? It's no fault of their own, but most veterinarians actually aren't equipped to deal with one of the most key, crucial building blocks to health. Dr. Arthur Guyton says this: all chronic pain, suffering, and diseases are caused by a lack of oxygen at the cell level. When we talk about ozone therapy, this is really the focus of ozone therapy. Is what ozone therapy does better than anything else is address exactly that lack of oxygen at the cellular level. Let's look at just what ozone is. Well, it's a gas. It's a reactive gas, we know. Energized, unstable form of oxygen. In fact, when you see a lightning storm, basically what's happening is lightning is ripping through our troposphere here near the Earth's surface. And as it does that, it rips apart oxygen atoms, and some of those form back up to form what we know as ozone, which is 3 oxygen atoms just sharing electrons. And it doesn't share very well, so it's always looking to revert back to a more stable form of oxygen. Because of that, we have a very short half-life. That means it breaks down very quickly and ozone goes away, it goes back to oxygen. It's also one of the most powerful sterilizers that we know of. So that's a little bit about ozone, how it's formed, what it is. When we're talking about medical ozone, we need to understand a couple of things. To produce pure medical grade ozone, we need a medical grade ozone generator so that we can produce that high voltage safely in the confines of that generator, and we need medical grade oxygen. With those 2 components, we can really start to use ozone as a medical treatment. So let's look at the definition of ozone therapy. What is it? Ozone therapy is a medical treatment that uses activated oxygen, or ozone, to treat many chronic and acute diseases. It's a biological response modifier that increases oxygen utilization, optimizes mitochondrial function, and improves cellular health. It can be applied topically, infused into the blood and tissue through various means, or introduced into a fluid or oil which acts as a carrier. That is a definition of ozone therapy. Why don't we break that definition down? So I'm going to take some of those bigger phrases and just talk about each one of them briefly. So it's a medical treatment. We all really know what that means. It was designed to treat disease and to combat disease. But the important thing that I want to discuss here is that you can't just go use ozone in any way you want to. In fact, that would be dangerous. We don't want to do that. There are guides that are available to us that guide us in dosing and frequency and what to treat and how to treat it. So what we've done is we've taken the Madrid Declaration on Ozone Therapy, which was put out by the International Scientific Committee of Ozone Therapy. I've met a number of the people who have been heavily involved in putting this document together. And we've actually put together a veterinary ozone treatment guide. And so now we have not only a treatment guide for human medicine, but we also have one for veterinary medicine that's extremely helpful and very important for treating. It's activated oxygen. We already hit on that. It's 3 oxygen atoms combined into what we know as ozone. So it's used to treat disease. One of the really cool things about ozone therapy is its versatility, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But because of how it works, we can use it to treat a host of different chronic and acute diseases. And so ozone is extremely powerful as a tool in the veterinary clinic because of that. Ozone therapy is a biological response modifier. So we have this kind of graphic of a cell, and in that cell there's a lot of different reactions that are occurring. And one of those reactions is NAD and NADH, and it's happening all the time where they're transferring NAD to NADH and vice versa. But if our cells are out of balance, what takes place is that ratio gets way off. That's supposed to be 700 to 1, it gets off significantly, and then our cells aren't able to utilize oxygen very efficiently. As somebody ages, or when they're chronically ill, or even acute illnesses sometimes, that's what takes place. So really what ozone therapy does is, on a cellular level, it helps us to utilize oxygen more efficiently. If I were to say something like, ozone therapy upregulates the cellular antioxidant buffering enzymes and increases the production of HO-1 and HSP70. Okay, most of you glaze over. But if instead I say, ozone therapy really helps to reduce or normalize oxidative stress on the body and to improve immune function, well, you can get your arms around that. It's a little bit more understandable. And maybe it's a simplistic way of looking at ozone therapy, but that is the essence of what is happening with ozone therapy. Methods of application. Really, one of the real beauties of ozone, again, is its versatility. You can apply ozone in over 14 different ways. And that's a little bit, probably, it's a lot to take in right away, but I always tell people, start with 1 or 2 and then branch out once you get comfortable. But we can apply ozone topically through ozonated fluids, through ozonated oils, limb bagging, where we run ozone gas directly over a wound to help it heal faster and to sterilize it. We can do something called major autohemotherapy or minor autohemotherapy, which utilizes blood. We can do insufflations into the ears. So lots of different things that can be done. It makes ozone extremely versatile, extremely valuable. So let's look at, I told you there's a number of resources and studies available. Ozone therapy has been around a while. There's over 2,000 different scientific articles, studies, and books that have been written on the topic. So let's take a look at just a couple of those right now. The first one I wanted to bring up is this one. It's a treatment with ozone for squamous cell carcinomas in rabbits, and just had a really great result there with treating with ozone therapy. This one, and I'm just giving you a broad overview of some of the studies to show you it's on a variety of different conditions and different administration methods. This is intramammary infusion for dairy cattle who have mastitis. So some great results on that one. This is for treating, actually just injecting around the spinal areas. And sometimes this is done into joints as well, is very common, using ozone, and sometimes they actually add something called Prolo solution or PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and treat in combination with ozone therapy. So there's been some excellent results on that. Resources. So as we look at resources, there's a doctor by the name of Dr. Velio Bocci. I had the privilege of meeting him back in 2014. He wrote a book. He wrote a lot of articles, to be honest with you, a lot of books. He spent a lot of time dedicated to research on ozone therapy in particular. And he wrote this, it's about, I think, 300 pages or so, called Ozone, a New Medical Drug. It really digs into the science. So if you're not somebody who loves the science, loves the biology and the biochemistry and all of that stuff, don't invest in this book. It's kind of expensive. But if you are, this is the first place to start. This book will give you a great foundation to understanding ozone therapy and how it works. But if you're somebody who likes the idea of reading and learning a little bit more, books like The New Oxygen Prescription have a great section on ozone therapy. So pick up something like that on Amazon and read it. It'll help you understand how ozone works and how you can apply it. Okay, so this is the part where I say, we have this awesome guarantee, and I just want to share it with you. If ozone therapy doesn't become one of your favorite treatments, we'll refund your money and treat you to dinner. Now, I'm talking to veterinarians here, so if you're a pet parent, this doesn't apply. I'm sorry. But and to be honest, I won't come and treat you to dinner. I'll send you a gift card. We'll deal with it that way. But we really are confident that ozone therapy is going to become something that's a cornerstone treatment in your clinic, or even if you're treating your pet at home. All right, in our next video, we're going to dive into how ozone therapy can be used in your clinic or even in your home if you're a pet parent, and lead to much better results and happier pets in the long run. And on top of that, a great return on investment for those who are clinicians. So let's go and get started on that next video.